we are looking at inclusion versus segregation, sometimes called pull-out services for special education. This is part one, inclusion versus mainstreaming. First of all, let us look at the law, PL 94-142. You can pause and stop this if you want, but some points that to receive federal funds, you must provide free and appropriate education, FAPE, to all children in the least restrictive environment. Pause if you want to read that further, but let us unpack that. There are a continuum of services for any type of exceptionality, all the way from the most restrictive, home or institution, special schools, full-time special classrooms, part-time special classrooms, gen ed classrooms with consultation. Least restrictive, most restrictive. Depending on the student, we want them placed in the least restrictive. Now, some students need to be here, here. Many can be here. The tendency has been to put students with special needs bink, or bink, and not even consider that. So, let us look at the differences. Two terms that get confused. They are different. Inclusion versus mainstreaming. Mainstreaming is a bad thing or not a good thing. It says there is one mainstream in which all the fish should swim. So in mainstreaming, we are preparing the child or helping the child fit this mainstream. We're doing things to the child to make sure he or she fits in this peg, this square peg. So we're trying to fit the child to the curriculum. In the old days, in the 80s and 90s, when this first came around, they would essentially just throw children with special needs into a gen ed classroom and say, there you go, teacher, fix them up and all children will be happy. Well, that is a silly idea, not based on research or sound pedagogical theory. Inclusion says there are many streams in which the fish should swim. Inclusion says we are going to try to fit the curriculum, the learning experience, to meet the many needs of the children in the classroom. There's not one standardized learning experience. We should not try to hand out the same slop in the cafeteria line to all the children come through. All right. So in an inclusive classroom, the special education teacher becomes an education specialist, working with the gen ed teacher to create multi-level inclusive classroom instruction. And yes, that can be done. It's a little more confusing and high level, but once you understand the theories of inclusion, teaching becomes more effective, more exciting, more interesting, and actually easier once you master these high level skills. And part one, inclusion versus mainstreaming, big idea. Inclusion, good. Mainstreaming, bad.